at home decided to watch some TV, listening to the news by Gordon Mosley. And listening to the things that he say he tracking tonight, paying close attention to make sure I hear it right. But when I hear the things that he mentioned on the news, I had to declare, them kind of thing got me confused. I hear some things where the ERC noticing, and it convinced people that people ain't learning nothing. We hear so many times about them big name calling, and they say ERC pretend that they didn't learn nothing. But once you're black, and you just decide to say a word or two, bet your life on that, they say ERC coming for you. Listen to the things you just hear on social media. Only one set of people allowed to talk in one Guyana. I still say nothing, black people in learning. But this is my concern, I hope one day black people will learn. ERC that I would like to know, if any of his members happens to be black people. And if that is the case, I want them to answer this call. Tell me how come none of them ain't got no voice at all. You're showing signs of weakness and you're afraid to be fair, and we see the same thing keep happening year after year. And the day will come when all this nonsense will stop. That will be the day when black people decide to wake up. Not so long ago, something terrible happened. This young Indian man want to kill out all black people by poison. But if his shoes was on the other foot, would have been a big threat. But up to this day, this ERC can do nothing as yet. How come it's only black people committing cybercrime? When pretty on social media busting people all the time, I still say black people in learning. But one day will come when the entire table will turn. Excuse me, see they fail to condemn, because these people think that the law is only for them. And anybody else who decide to file a complaint, they go call you a racist and don't want to hear nothing. Plenty complaint from time to time has been brought to their attention, but because of this one-sided cybercrime is why they don't show any concern. There's only one set of people that they really care about, and black people must take the abuse and shut them out. Kidaki Amsterdam went to court just recently for an issue that was highlighted by the same ERC. And with breakneck speed, the police decide to jump on his case. Without a search warrant, they went and search up the man's place. Let us all agree that black people under attack. Different laws for you and me just because we black. are still singing. Black people in London. To all my black friends, we must put a stop to all this nonsense. Cybercrime laws to keep people silent, just to make sure nobody criticizes this government. And while that is a very clear case of dictatorship, it is no surprise that the ERC ignoring it. Why only the chosen few is allowed to have things their way, when people like me and you must have nothing to say? And when ministers in the government start to launch their attack, you never hear this ERC come out and talk about that. They send a policeman all the way to New York. This fella went up there to serve a customer on Rick Forward. Under this thing, this government decide to fabricate a case, but like they forget the warning they get from Black T-shirt James. The vice president is prepared to use as a low life. Because of this kind of abuse, he don't have a wife. I'm still singing. Black people in learning. Just the other day, I hope your man see help is on the way.
All right, so today we are here at Club Twilight up in Buxton, and we are here to talk about all that's going on up here. Trust me, if you are on the East Coast, you're in Buxton, you're in Tongue, you're looking for a place to get away to, this is the place. The Cutters, mwah. Listen, I'll be having some just now again. We'll talk about that. And then, of course, the ambience is beautiful, fully air conditioned. The decor is on point. The music's on point. Everything's on point. It's just me. I need some work. But everything else that belongs to this club here is on point. So if you want to find a nice little place where you can just drive out of town and have some drinks, have some food, you can call, you can order your stuff and just take it. You don't have to stay. Or if you want to stay here, that's what's up. And of course, they have special events for Valentine's. You can rent a hall. You can rent a hall, honey. You can rent a hall for weddings, for birthday parties, to have a bash. I hope he edits that out. But you know, whatever it is, this is definitely the place to be. So it's on Sideline Dam. You definitely want to ensure that you check this place out. But it's on your to-do list. All right, on your to-do list. This is definitely the place to check out, you know, a really cool, chill spot here in Buxton. I like this. This is, Buxton needed this. We needed this. I needed this. You definitely needed too. Thank you. All right, so you might be wondering where we are, still in Buxton at Club Twilight. That's where we are. So Club Twilight also has like an Airbnb as well. So you could come, drink, drunk, and come in the back here and lie down. Look at that. Look at that. Perfection. And the people come in the room and so on. The bed sheet matching the blind, matching the carpet, matching the this, matching the that. We know but we things in Buxton don't play with we. So definitely, if you want to come and you may be having a wedding or whatever, and you just want to overnight and just have a good time because you're gonna be drunk, we got too much road accidents. So you definitely want to come drink, have a good time. They have several rooms that you can rent. You have your toilet, you have your bath, you have your sink, you have your dining area, you have the this is nice. I like it. Anyways, to my friends and my family, if you're looking for me, I'll be overnighting. Also, for those persons who are traveling in from overseas, you want a nice, cozy place out of town, then Club Twilight, call them up, look them up on social media. They have their own Facebook page, and ensure that you come up the side and have a good time. Have a good time. Have a good time. Sorry. I'm sorry. That's it.
AP and you, rise Guyana shine. Together we build, now is the time. With Aubrey strong and heart so true, we're rising up. It's me and you, vote AP and you, for justice care, for every family, everywhere, for jobs, for schools, for brighter days, for youth and elders, better ways. Who you voting for? Who gon' lift you more? Who gon' care for all? Stand up tall and vote. AP and you, go, 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 go. AP and you, go, 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 go. AP and you, go, 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 go. AP and you.
How many bowel movements do you have a day? If the answer is one or less, we need to talk. Everything starts in the gut. Toxins, bloating, constipation, even parasites can build up silently, affecting your mood, your skin, your immune system, and your energy. Ultra Body Cleanse is a simple 15-day system. Morning tablet to flush from the inside. Nighttime tea to detox and reset. People don't realize it, but most problems start in the gut. And when you clean it out, you feel lighter, you look healthier. You finally go. Like you should. Don't wait for symptoms. Ask your artist distributor today how to start your Ultra Body Cleanse.
Buxton, Guyana, it's here again. The Black is Beautiful Cultural Evening this July 31st, Buxton Line Top, featuring Mark Batson, Divine Stars, Brian Chester, Eyes of the Ancestors on the drums, Buxton Fusion, and the indomitable Yoruba singers. Lots of songs, poetry, Nancy story, dance, and lots more cultural entertainment. Come out. Buxton Line Top, this July 31st. It is the annual 1st of August movement and friends. Black is Beautiful. Evening of cultural entertainment. Calling all seniors. It's soiree time. Yes, the big people soiree say August 1st at Club Twilight, Sideline Dam, Buxton North. Come out. Come on, let's feast and well-prepared African traditional dishes and be entertained by drumming, folklore, music, and lots more. Admission, it's absolutely free. Come out, let us celebrate our elders. It's the Elders Soiree at Club Twilight, Sideline Dam, Buxton North, August 1st. Come one, come all. Starting time, 12 o'clock, midday. Are you looking for tents to rent? Well, look no further. At EC Party Rentals, Sideline Dam, Buxton North, we have tents in all sizes and colors. All sizes of tents we have. Small tents, big tents, medium tents, extra large tents. Call us on 622-5933. We have what you need. EC Party Rentals. Big on tents. Are you hosting an event? Do you need ice, party ice in large or small quantities? Then call us at 622-5933 for the best party ice available. $1,000 per bag. We do delivery. EC Crystals, Sideline Dam, Buxton North. Call to have your orders filled today. Planning a party? Worry no more. We have all the supplies you need. At EC Party Rentals, we have folding chairs, folding tables, square tables, round tables, long tables, short tables, big tables. We have chairs, red chairs, gold chairs, white chairs, crystal chairs, chairs of all type, throne chairs. What you want, we have. Food warmers, coolers, ice, beverages. At EC Party Rentals, we have what you need to have a good time. You plan the party, we do the work. Call us 622-5933. Easy Party Rentals. Let's keep your party going.
You can get meat anywhere, but for the best cuts of chicken, beef, pork, mutton, and lots more, check out T and W Harris Butcher Shop located in the East Rheinveld Market Meat section. Call us on 609-7168, 641-4494. Ask for Rastaman. T and W Harris Butcher Shop for the best in fresh cut meats and lots more.
We dedicated your energies to doing all that is necessary to hit on every door, speak to every citizen, encourage every neighbor that this is the time to vote for the APNU and get the PPP out of office. If you think it's bad now, then I shudder to think what it will be with the PPP in office in the next term. Look around you. All of the evidence is there. I see people are being penalized for their political choices. Listen, when it comes to the political contest, I go hard. I tell people that I go hard. I believe in what I believe. I rep what I believe. I bring the facts. I challenge my opponents. But I don't think I play dirty. I don't think I play dirty. And if you all can't recognize the nastiness that is being played out in this country by the PPP and vote against it, we're in for some serious shambles. And I like to reference African Guyanese, Afro-Guyanese, because the fact is, I am first Afro-Guyanese. I'm Guyanese, but I'm first Afro-Guyanese. Tell anybody I say that. I have no shame for that. I think the problem we have in this country is that many of us Afro-Guyanese strive to be Guyanese only. But the world sees our Africanness first. And until we can recognize that and acknowledge it and embrace it, we can continue to be in problem trying to fit in. We are going to continue to be in problems trying to fit in. And so I'd like to acknowledge my Africanness first. This Africanness could have been born in any part of the world, and it still would have been Africanness. When you have a government, I'm telling you how long this thing going down, you know. I didn't believe me. That can have African Guyanese act in positions of service at the most senior level for extended periods of time.
and then out of the blue, as I would call it, pull the rug from under their feet and say, you're not good enough, I have a problem with it. I have a problem with it. The acting chancellor is now on leave, they say. And so the Chief Justice acting Roxanne George is now elevated, or is to be elevated to the acting chancellor position. And Navindra Singh is to be elevated to the acting Chief Justice position. I said to you all before that closer to the election, the PPP is about to appoint about 4 judges that it favors and who apparently favor it in preparation for defending themselves when they rig the elections. And I am saying to you, without the fear of successful contradiction, that it has started. I got my own thoughts on Navindra Singh, I can tell you that. I have a matter that was called before Singh. And when I went to court, Singh was chatting with the complainant on the corridors of the court for at least 20 minutes. For at least 20 minutes. And when I went into the court, he practically became a part of the complainant's team. I am saying that. And so I'm saying there is no fairness to be had from certain individuals on the bench. And the PPP knows that, and the PPP will continue to promote them to protect their own partisan interest. It's not only happening in the courts, though. Look out. Promotions are soon to be made in the Guyana Police Force and the Guyana Defense Force. And if you all can recognize what the PPP is doing, good for you. Good for you. I'm saying saving Guyana lies in our people coming out in large numbers, historical numbers, never heard of numbers, to resoundingly vote against the PPP. Y'all believe it or not? I'm not going to comment too much on the Demerara Bank, what I want to call fiasco, with those who are candidates for the Win Party, etc. The competent authority is soon coming, Mr. Winston Jordan. I'm sure he will educate us in some way, shape, or form as to what is playing out over there. But don't forget that the American ambassador, Thierot, or whatever her name is, has issued statements in relation to who is an acceptable candidate and who is not in this country's election. I see that as a clear interference in our local democratic processes, in our elections by a foreign government. And regardless of who the opponent is, and regardless where the opponent is pulling support from, as I sit before you this morning, I'm saying that is wrong and it must be called as wrong. The US ain't got no right to interfere in such a direct way in our elections. They gave us the PPP tyrants for the last 5 years through regime change. And if I were to interpret the current actions, they're aiming to leave that monkey on our backs. But we ought not to stand for it. We ought not to stand for it. We must tell the US, stay out of the business. Let the contest begin. and may the better man win. The US had the opportunity through the ambassadors and all of them to call and GCOM to fix the damn list and deliver free, fair, and credible elections to the Guyanese people. But they're not interested in that. They're interested in tilting the scale for those that they can mamagai and those that they can control to give away the wealth of this country. And so I'm going to say to you before I call Mr. Jordan, it's obvious, by now it should be abundantly clear that Guyana will only grow, even with the oil income, and even without the oil income, when the PPP goes. And that we must ensure. Mr. Jordan, good morning. It's another Thursday, buddy. It was raining cats and dogs earlier.
Yeah, man.
I
Yeah,
hope
man.
the
Good
black
morning.
tank's
Good
full.
morning. Good morning. Yes, another Thursday, another thankful Thursday. Rain in the air. I don't know. It's raining by you, because like I said, sometimes it rains here and it's not raining anywhere else.
It rained heavily, but it has now stopped.
Okay. Well, we're getting the best of both worlds. You saw how blessed Ghana is. We're blessed with sunshine and we're blessed with rain, blessed with a lot of water, in addition to all the other resources, natural and human. But at the same time, as you well know, we're cursed. It's as if all of these resources end up being a curse. You know, you can't. It's just a paradox that this little country has been blessed with so much resources, and yet still it's wallowing in self-hate, self-pity, poverty, and everything else. It's there. It's racing to the bottom rather than like cream rising to the top. You know, when you think it was bad, it seems to be getting worse. Now, poverty figures had been put at around 48% in 2019. And then, of course, it came down from 60% back in 2000, early 2000s, to 48% in 2019, thanks to, in no small measure, to the number of programs that we put in our very short time during 2015 to 2019. And I may not get to come back to that, but I will comment here and now in saying that it is really, again, unfortunate that, one, those who served in the last government, almost all of them, seem to go on to pasture and not helping in the effort to make it clear what was done with the little that we had under the coalition government, what was accomplished, and then the new set of guys under the APNU can pick up from there and say how we are going to build on what was accomplished under 2020, under the coalition government, using the enormous amount of resources that is available and that will become available. I don't see that. They're all gone. I'm here, there, and everywhere trying to fill gaps, talk on behalf of other people's sectors that they manage, while they're all gone. With the possible exception of David Patterson on Public Works, Annette Ferguson, that was at housing and shadowing any number of other areas. And I apologize to those who I don't remember now who have been putting in any input. You're all gone. giving credence to the other who are every day putting things out there as if the coalition was no good, didn't do anything. Feed and they have access to that broad mass media and social media. I must admit to you that I'm tired of trying to go to a website or to go to read Stabik News or Kaito News or one of them and being blinded by all of this red of the government, you know, all this red, Ali, 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 you know, and all these political ads and so on, you know. But back to what I was saying, feeding people a bunch of misinformation. And there's only so much I can do. I can't go replying to everybody who I see, and I have no intention of doing that. I have no intention of doing that. But if those who served in the coalition government are not proud enough to come out there and represent what they have done, then they were not fit in the first place to serve in the government. Almost none of them. You can't find any one of them. Agriculture, health, education, culture, youth and sport. None of them who serve in the coalition government can go out there and explain. A couple of weeks ago, one of my colleagues, he asked me to put together some information for him quickly on depth. I've said this a week or two ago. And in responding to him, sending the information, respond to him, I said, man, the time is opportune for you to come out and say what you had done in your sector. And his response to me is that he will think about it. Think about it. What more will it take for those people to come out and say? There was Sherrod answering Priya Manik-Chan about government or coalition government never built any school. It was left to Sherrod, who didn't serve in the government. It was left to Sherrod to do that. What happened to our ministers of education that we had? Yes, I know the first one is, you know, not of great health. I know the other one went and joined IDB, but it can't be lack of disinterest. Even if you're with IDB, can't you send back some of the information to potential people to correct who's perhaps identified as education or something, and let them go out there and do it? This brings me to the second point I want to make with this. I'm just asked, you know, it's not on my agenda for the day, but you know, it is difficult to understand why this is not happening. That yes, there are large numbers of new faces, great people, and so on the list, fresh faces, and I've seen they are introducing them from time to time, and they are doing a great job and so on. But you must always know your history. So before you appear on any platform and before you say anything, make certain you know the history. I've seen, for example, various people saying fees at UG was introduced in 1992, 1973, 19 this and all that kind of thing. Do your homework, man. Don't come put false information out there. Do your homework. I'm saying to the youngsters, do your homework. Call on the elders for information if you can't find it. And feed the minds of the youth who are starving for information, because all they are hearing is that the coalition with that little minuscule resources didn't do anything for them. And then we wallow sometimes in self-pity. and all this kind of thing. We go in and tell the youths, oh, the coalition could have done more and could have done more and all this kind of thing. Man, that is the end of the tale, not the beginning. You're not telling them what the coalition did for them. You're not telling them the difficulties the coalition had when they came into power in 2015. You're not letting them know that under the coalition government, they weren't being murdered. When I was walking around in 2020, going from house to house in various depressed communities in Georgetown, people were telling me, you're doing a good job. But in one case, we have to free up the economy. I said, well, what you mean? He said, under the last government, money was flowing. I said, money flowing here too. He said, man, listen, you got to free up. You got to let some of that thing pass. I said, what thing? He said, you got to let little white powder and little ganja thing pass. I said, friend, that is the problem we have. I said, that is the problem we have. I don't think that is going to happen under our government, right? We spend a lot of time and effort cleaning up this economy of drugs because most of the sufferers are people like you and your others in your community. You're suffering because you're users, you're suffering because you're being locked up and so on. No, we are going to clean this economy and ultimately you are going to be the beneficiaries. And you couldn't stay out at 6 o'clock. You had to rush to home. Now you can stay out anytime you want because life, freedom and life, these things that you take for granted now, which you didn't have before. You're not telling the youths, you're not telling them what it is about. Many of them grew up under the PPP, not the PNC. Many of them grew up under the PPP. People who were born under the coalition will not be able to vote today. So many of the youth only know the PPP. And yet still, we are allowing the PPP to put a narrative in there about 3.5 years of a coalition government. As if everything is wrong, that wrong went under the coalition government. We are allowing this nonsense to happen. Yes, I'm upset. I'm totally upset. We're not telling the youths. We're not telling them it. Too many of us are slinking around. Too many of us want to go across because we don't want to do the hard work. But when you go across, you're glad enough to be selling newspapers and walking house to house in the boiling sun that you didn't want to do when you were with the coalition or with the PNC. You didn't want to do it, but now you're forced to do it. And while we blame or we criticize the people for being transactional, too many of us who are with us are also transactional. And a recent grasshopper, must come out publicly and state what is being said in public, what he grasped up formally. He must come out publicly and state whether what is being said is true or false. We're not saying you're not supposed to be able to uplift yourself when you are within an organization, but when you join a party or a group and so on, what happened to servant leadership? What happened to servant leadership? You got to get something out of it, or else I ain't in it. What happened to the wider community? What happened? Is there no sense of history? Is there no sense of struggle? And then others who are there struggling on behalf of the wider community, you got people in there undermining that struggle. Undermining the struggle because they have not been seized of history. They have not been seized of history. They don't know their history. All they know is money or some other transactional arrangement. And they are worse. They are the worst kind because they undermine the struggle. It is Harriet Tubman who said, I freed 1,000 slaves, but I could have freed 1,000 more if only they knew they were slaves. Folks, I'm sorry I got up, but it pains me. It pains me. Even our own, they don't start off with the positive. They run with the negative. They don't start off with the positive. They run with the negative. And then some of them are goaded into accepting what the others are saying. The people, the PPP label you. They make the PNC feel as if they are the riggers and they must apologize. It's not the PNC. People don't understand subliminal messages. No, we're too low down to understand subliminal messages. They're not going to go out there and say Africans must apologize. No, they're not going to do that. But Africans are associated with the PNC, and therefore it must be the PNC who must apologize. And people run with that message. They run with that message because what? We don't read. We don't read. And over the 28 years of this government, they've immiserized the African population. I keep bringing up this message. When I grew up, I read the newspapers, quality journalists back in those days, quality journalists, Blackman, Muhammad Hamaluddin, Mendes, all these journalists, fantastic journalists. The newspaper was worth reading, Guyana Graphic, Guyana Chronicle, Argosy, and you name it, they were worth reading. One newspapers we used to get on Sunday, and we used to read it white. My father used to read Force. And he ain't giving you even the sports page to read until he done the entire newspapers. My mother reads next, and she would read only some of it. And then it passes down. By the time it's finished, it's white. It's ready to be used as latrine paper. We don't read anymore. I grew up learning about Guyanese history, some of it extremely skewed. Dwarkanath, Verity Daily. I grew up learning Guyanese history, even at primary school, Campbell Government School. In the 60s. When it struck me and hit me that there were far more East Indians in Guyana than any other race. That struck me because it never dawned upon me that was the case. And then I began to learn a bit more how this took place. Now you have a scenario where they don't teach history, Guyanese history anymore in any part in the schools, in the school system. No Guyanese history. And not even the university. In my economics degree, I did POL 210, which was called Caribbean history, in which you get a piece of Guyanese history. Before we can do Caribbean history, we must learn Guyanese history. And before AGDA invites everybody else to join in the celebration, they must first let Africans know why they have this celebration. That's not what we're doing. It's not wrong inviting everybody, but it's tantamount to the same thing that has always been happening. And thankfully being reversed now by Norton, is that you neglect your base while you're trying to run and please other people and trying to bring other people over. But you have to solidify your foundation before you can add different things coming from different places. And this is what is the problem now. We're not solidifying the foundation. And that is why you have people running all over the place. As soon as they see a $5,000 and a $1,000, they think that is it. 5 years on, they're no better off. This is why they don't understand their self-independence and their self-esteem is being taken away from them so that they become dependent. So an ordinary thing like a house lot that you should get, you feel the greatest thing that has happened to you when one is awarded to you. Never mind, you don't know where it is, or even if you find it, it's in difficult conditions to get there, and so on. Never mind 5 years afterwards, you haven't put down even a stock because you don't have the money. But you feel gratitude that this has been handed to you. Something that you should get. You feel gratitude if they say water, they can put water in your yard. Things that are standard under the UN and so on. Why? Your self-esteem has been taken from you. And now you have a godfather. You get a contract. Coalition and give me no contract. Now why you're under the PPP, I get a contract. You remember the one who was hike bodyguard? Who said under hike he was drinking black tea, but on the PPP he was drinking soup? You remember him? And he was proud to go as a Guyanese of African descent to go and say that. And you see how many more have followed in his footsteps. So they're only black by ethnic, descendant and so on. But in their heart and their mind, it is nothing else. That's the only black thing for them. And so as a people trying to survive in this country, the struggle is made harder because we don't have the ties that bind us. The history that is supposed to bind us because we don't know our history. The culture that is supposed to bind us because we don't know our culture. The religion that is supposed to bind us because we don't have a religion. The clubs that should bind us, that we don't have clubs. The business people that we should look up to, that we don't have. All the things that, and of course, wealth and intergenerational wealth that we don't have. All the things that should go in the melting pot to push us. They're not there. And so we don't want the arduous task of building those things. We take the shortcut and run over to the other side. As if that shortcut is going to help us to progress. So that my opening, it wasn't planned, but I've been listening to, things and, and it bothers me, the messaging. You run out, we should apologize to the youths that we didn't do enough on all this kind of story. That is a message that should come after you tell the youth, you educate the youth about the circumstances that brought you into power in 2015, the circumstances that took you out of power in 2020, 2018, and ultimately 2020, and notwithstanding that, what we did. I did a program last week in which I elaborated some of the programs that were targeted to youths. We could have gone and checked and see some of the beneficiaries. I named some of the beneficiaries of some of the programs. We could have gone there and checked on other beneficiaries and let them tell their story. But no, we said, down hall, we know we should apologize to the youth. I'm not saying we're not supposed to apologize to the youth. But we're not telling the youth what we did for them. We're not telling the youth how some of what we did for them was sabotaged by the then opposition, like the raid program. We're not telling the youths or find out how many youths benefited from the security program that we had financed by the IDB. We're not telling them these things. We run out and take the easy way out. Oh, we must apologize to the youths for not doing either enough or not doing anything more or so on. Well, tell the youths that one of the reasons why we couldn't even do anything more for them is that we had to find 35 billion unplanned dollars to save the same guy Suko that they turn around now today and tell us we didn't like them. Not we, 23 years we want in power. They run Guy Suko into the ground and left it, knowingly left it. The CEO, a week or two afterwards, pick up the traps and gone. 2 weeks, those people weren't being paid. 3 weeks, they didn't receive wages. And a young government come in and had to save that place. Just 5.5 months, 6 months after coming in, we had to find $12 billion right away to save Guy Suko. A Guy Suko that should have been giving money to the treasury, not taking money from the treasury. You know what we could have done with that same $12 billion? Yeah? You know what we could have done? And as if that were not enough, throughout our entire stay in there, we had to end up giving to Guy Suko over $35 billion plus securing a $30 billion bond. All of that we did for a Guy Suko that did today, saying that we didn't want. And when we were about to bring back that place, boop, they come in like knight in shining armor, riding in as if they were there to save the day. We're not telling the people the truth. We're allowing other people to script the messaging, script the narrative, and make you feel bad. We're not telling them anything. I see one of them the other day talking about how we even increase fees on the donkeys or something like that. This, time is precious, and so you don't waste your time on these people. You don't waste your time on these people. Like I said 2 weeks ago, analysis has beat some of these people, and some of the jackasses are the ones who profess to have education in them. I tell you about the beautiful bill. The man said, I reducing taxes. Who he reducing taxes to? Not the poor, because he ain't got no interest in the poor. He reducing taxes in the big, beautiful bill. Right? So the rich, the people who are super billionaires, they are the ones who get in the reduction in taxes. Nobody ain't complaining, You don't hear them complaining. The super rich. The middle class, struggling. But guess what? The man substituted license and fees for taxes. So, oh yes, he sold it. No, I'm going to reduce taxes. But what they don't understand, that he still got a deficit to deal with, and he still got the economy to grow. So, and he got to get back the money. So, what we do? Look, it's perhaps the most fees, new fees, and increase in fees in any bill, any budget bill, perhaps in the history of the America, the big, beautiful bill. And y'all take that for y'all fastness. You got to pay $250 US more for your visa that you're paying $185. You're training to pay $185. Take that for your fastness. No visa, $435 US. And you're going to willingly pay it. And you bet that same one who talk about putting fees on donkeys going to willingly pay the $435 US. And you don't hear a cum for anybody in Guyana who talk. You could go read the bill. You're blinded by the number of fees. But why? People know. People know. You shift burdens around. And by the way, he's putting the burdens on the overseas people. Shift burdens around. The same man who talked about, well, he didn't say about no new taxes. He didn't say anything like that. But look what he has done to trade. Look what he has done to trade. Look what Guyana has to face in terms of tariffs and so on. It's only the ignorant and the sycophants who will go on television and put their education and profession on the line and speak those kinds of rubbish. I showed you on this same program, I think 2 or 3 weeks ago, when the government came into power in 1992, what they did in terms of taxes, tax increases, and fees. I showed you, I begged for people to cut that up and put it out there to nullify the nonsense that they're talking about. But it wasn't done. It wasn't done. And so the people are overpowering us with a bunch of lies, misconceptions, and everything else. But carry on smartly. Carry on smartly. Anyway, last week I told you that my good friend, really good friend, true friend, Leroy Charles had died. His funeral service was, well, one of his first funeral services was last week, Sunday. His body will be flown home this Friday. Tonight, there's a wake for him at the Ex-Police Association in Cowan Street, Kingston. So all those who knew him and they will wish to attend, the wake starts at 7 at the Ex-Police Association in Cowan Street, Kingston. And tomorrow there's another wake at the Zoar Congregational Church courtyard in Prince William Street, next to the Pleasance Health Center. There's another wake there, I think starts at 7. And on Saturday, the service is at Zoar Congregational Church in Pleasance, in Prince William Street, Pleasance. I think tributes are from about 1:30 to 3, open tributes. And I think the service starts from about 3 o'clock. Right? So those who knew him, I'm down to give a special tribute on Saturday. On the subject of death, may I extend condolences to the family of Miss Ronicia Niles, a 22-year-old budding psychologist. I think she had last year completed her degree with high honors from the University of Guyana in psychology. And I think who either was working for or was destined to start working for SBM, Shore-Based Management, who suffered from severe asthma and unfortunately died on our way to the Georgetown Hospital from the new Diamond Regional Hospital. On reading the brother's account, which has not been disputed in any way by the Ministry of Health's account, it paints a harrowing, horrifying picture of what that girl went through, leading to her death. It paints a picture of someone who, properly managed, could have been alive today, contributing to the development of this country. It is hard to appreciate a 22-year-old who has not lived as yet, who has done everything right, educated herself, and has to die in that manner from a treatable disease. It is hard. And it struck me personally because my grandson and his mother suffer from severe asthma. And I will hate to think, were they to get an attack and have to be rushed to the hospital, that they will be confronted with the same treatment. Because notwithstanding the fact that so far we have been able to rush them to private hospitals when they get an attack, it may be that the attack may happen where a private hospital is not around and they may have to go to one of these public hospitals. And so the interest has to be all wrong that the treatment will be on par in either cases to ensure that they survive. And of course, then, didn't we talk about all these people do is transactional things? I told you, observing elections after elections after elections in my life, it's the same thing. People rush to put projects that are going to come out of their gestation into finality around the time when the elections will be called, because we want to cut a ribbon. Because cutting a ribbon is synonymous with progress in their eyes. And to cut a ribbon, you don't cut a ribbon for a dog pen, but you want to cut a ribbon for a school, a road, a hospital, a health center, a car, a tractor. Yes, those things, visual things that people could see. They call them sexy things. You don't want to cut a ribbon for training 100 doctors in specialist areas and so on. That is not sexy. And you got all these multicolors. You don't seem to have a standard color for school. Everybody got to get a color. One is blue and yellow. You know, one is white, one is brown, one is pink, one is orange. Don't we have standard? Don't we have standards as before for buildings? One is green and white, blue and yellow, light blue, dark yellow. Don't we have standard? There was a time when growing up, when the colonials had certain colors for their buildings. I think they were cream or some sort of thing. Right? One set of paint you could buy. Now we got this psychedelic colors all over dotting all over the landscape. I don't know. Just ask him. So everything you hear is state of the art. State of the art. Which connotes some fantastic thing that could do robotic stuff and AI stuff and so on. State of the art. That is what you hear. You see some little things and you hear, we are building a state of the art $200 million Ghana dollars. A state of the art $200 million Ghana dollars building. But hey, that is what attracts people. And this state of the art regional hospitals that you claim that you build by the Chinese, with Chinese loan money and Chinese labor, couldn't help this person. This is a hospital that has just recently been opened. This was a hospital that was notorious, the old one, notorious, and this was a hospital the girl was afraid to go to because of her previous experience. This is a hospital that used to chain lock its gates. And a watchman used to determine who could go in and who could come out. A watchman. And then they got rid of the one that was on the East Bank Public Road, and they built this big, shiny building where on its opening, they show all these sophisticated equipment that they got and so on. Importantly, it was, I believe, the Minister of Health who said that this hospital has its own independent supply of oxygen. But as soon as this hospital opened, you began to see the problems. Last week, I think I told you about the problems with the chronic parking issues. When you pass there now, I passed there last week, there's an empty lot adjacent to the hospital that now has been fenced. Not permanent fence, but the kind of fence that you put around when they can do construction. I don't know what is going there. I don't know who owned the land, and I don't know what is going there. I can't in my mind believe that a hotel is going to be put up there. But meanwhile, this hospital has no parking facilities. And so people are parking on the shoulders of that narrow 2-lane road, thus disturbing traffic flow. Even on a Saturday morning, early, there was problems for me to get out of Diamond to come back onto the Heroes Highway. And you would have thought that that adjacent land could have been used as a parking spot. If not all, some of it. But no. We open this building and have all these fancy equipment with the plastic on it and so on. But guess what? Where is the quality staff? It hurts. I tell you, it hurts. You know, I've had the opportunity and the pleasure of visiting certain hospitals in my sojourns. I've been to Howard University Hospital, where I did a minor operation back in the 90s. I've been to Center Community Hospital in Pennsylvania, where I did another minor operation while I was at university there. I had the experience of going to other hospitals like the Brookdale, Kings County Hospital in Galway in Ireland, hospital in Coventry in England when I was studying. You know, and what stands out in all of these hospitals is the order and the efficiency. There's definitely a protocol in place. You tell me, if somebody is suffering to the extent to which the brother indicated, why on earth do you have a protocol in that place that tells you that you must be seeking in basic information like name, date of birth, address, nationality, and all these mundane information instead of doing immediately seeking to get that person rush to your whatever room and do oxygen. Meanwhile, you could be asking the brother for the medical records, the name. You could get the name from the brother, you could get the age from the brother, you could get the living from the brother, you could get even the nationality from the brother. Not that that is important, but they seem to think that whether you're Guyanese or not. I don't know if we pay now for medicine, because you're asking now if you're a Guyanese or not. Well, if you're not a Guyanese, you got to pay. Anyway, all that information could be had from the brother. Meanwhile, you seek to get this person the oxygen that she needs for her health. The brother said she walked in there speaking but panting for breath. And you ask, this is your name and your age and all this kind of story that you could get. And that in any case, she was there before at the Diamond Hospital. Don't you have records? Don't you have the records computerized from the old Diamond Hospital? From the time you got her name and you asked about, was she a patient here before? Yes. Yes. You know, you already got blood type, all these kinds of story already from her first visit at the Diamond Hospital. Don't you have that? And then horrors of horrors. This so-called new place that is supposed to be state of the art ain't got its own independent oxygen supply, as was told to us, lied to us. It didn't even got the oxygen in numbers in the oxygen tanks. Instead, an oxygen tank had to be wheeled away from an aged person. And the mass on this aged person, who perhaps was suffering from something that got to do with the fact that he had to get oxygen, the mask was taken off of him and put onto this girl. No, I cringed when I heard that thing. You know why I cringed? Because I'm figuring out the same mask. Was this a sterilized mask? No, because what the guy said is that the mask was taken off from this individual and put onto this girl. But by then it was too late. Saturation levels had gone down. Now they're calling Georgetown Hospital. You know the distance from Diamond to Georgetown Hospital? Even at that hour, driving the East Bank Road is a problem. Driving the Heroes Highway is also a problem. It will still take you some time from Diamond to Georgetown Hospital. Oh man, I'm so sad for that family, and as I said, I'm hurt because I have two close people who are severe asthma sufferers, and it is not nice to think about what could happen to them. So all these regional hospitals that you're championing, you're trying to cut ribbon fast without even the building going through. Once it's finished, it's going through some period of settling in and some period of standardization, whatever you call it. You're rushing to cut ribbon and open. And you don't have the things in place, right? You don't have the quality in place. You don't have the readiness of the institution in place and the responsiveness of the healthcare system in place. So you invest in billions of dollars in concrete, as if that is sufficient. It may be necessary, but it's not a sufficient condition for a ready and responsive healthcare system. It is not. And until we have a governance system in this country that we don't have to wake up and be the victims of somebody's nightmare, in which the opposition is going to be treated as an integral part of that governance, and therefore are consulted widely and appropriately. Not one where meaningful consultation is you send me a letter. The president sends the opposition leader a letter on the 11th of July and telling him he must respond by the 18th. To what? To the fact that you are going to make two acting people that you name already. What is it that you're seeking from him? His approval of those people that he had no input in naming? And that is consultation, right? You're not calling him to his face and you all have a tete-tete as what the CCJ had suggested when the issue of the appointment of the chairman of the election commission, the partisan matter, when the Chief Justice had suggested. You write your letter, you give you a couple days, and if you don't respond, you then have the AG saying, well, you know, he respond, and therefore the president can now go ahead. Isn't that a whole contrived situation? Isn't it contrived? A whole contrived situation. And it's not the first time. It is not the first time that the situation has been contrived. But back to where we are. Because something, I tell you, we're not heading in a direction that gives us a lot of confidence, But anyway. So we don't have no state-of-the-art facility, one in which you may have a very beautifully constructed building with a lot of equipment backed up by a lot of specialist personnel, backed up by a lot of systems and so forth, support and other systems and so forth, that has a success rate in the 90s. We don't have that system here. What we have is modern buildings, some of them with equipment, some of them with a few personnel, but clearly lacking in systems, approaches, culture. Culture. Culture is a big part of responsiveness. Culture. Culture. And those hospitals I talk about. You see, if you have the system and the culture, even people from Guyana can move and go into that. They're going into a culture that is different than what they met here. They're going into a performance-based system, and they're going into an accountability system. But here, you always have the grouping together, and you get the common Ministry of Health statement. They don't accept no blame. The hospitals don't accept blame either, because they figure that this going to lead to a legal thing and so on. No, they got all these people who are ready to put out fancy PR statements and so on. There's no justice. There's no justice whatsoever. I'm not coming down on the doctors. God knows that they are in horrendous situations and they are paid peanuts. I'm not coming down on the nurses also. They are in the same position. But if we don't train, or if we cannot get properly trained nurses, if we cannot introduce proper systems, and if those systems are not maintained and rigorously implemented, we will end up with more of these, because there's no accountability. A system that has led to a death like this must be akin to a post-mortem, and what do they call it? When you're trying the judicial term for the commission, the inquiry into unnatural death. We must have this. We must have that as a system in place. And where there are gaps in the system, that must be brought out. Where there was carelessness and non-responsiveness, that too must also be brought out, and accountability for it. But in the absence of those things, we will continue to lament. In a country where the population is so small, it becomes a killing field. And all the money that you spent, people are still leery about going to these regional hospitals. It was the very situation prior, when they had the polytechnics. People forgetting that there was an Enmore Polytechnic before they broke it down and built this brand new again Enmore Regional Hospital. The Diamond was also a polytechnic. They broke it down now and built this hospital. So all they are doing is wasting our money building these concrete. But they're not building confidence in the people that I don't need to go to Georgetown Hospital anymore. I can stop here and get the treatment, the service, and everything else. Pie in the sky. Pie in the sky. As one person put it, medical outcomes depend on infrastructure, as well as systems, training, emergency preparedness, compassion, and quality care. What more do you need? You got the buildings, and it looks like you have the equipment, but the software, that is the human resources, right, and the procedures, manuals, and so on, and the culture and the accountability, they all need to be in place to complement the hardware, the equipment, and the building, and so on. And until we get that right, God forbid, we are going to get more deaths like this, and they are going to be swept under the carpet because there is no accountability system that does rigorous investigation that can lead to both cause, outcomes, and so on, so that we can learn. And we could talk about how much we are tuning with Northwell and that other university there, not the other university, the other hospital there in Manhattan. You got Northwell down in Jamaica, Queens. You have this other hospital that they're twinning with, and so on. You could talk about all of that. All of that you could talk about. You could even have your people trained there and so on. If the culture is not there and the accountability is not there, we will be hearing more about these deaths, sadly and unfortunately. And of course, as I said, in all this, to get quality people, you have to pay quality emoluments. You have to have quality benefits. And the people have to be treated as human beings rather than seeing them as chattel there to do a job that you put out for them. May our soul rest in peace. No, I seen the campaign heating up, and 2 days ago, I said the campaign because it could only have been due to the political campaign and the entry of Mohammed into the campaign. So 2 days ago, we see 3 people, Odessa Primus and Duarte Hetzberger and Natasha Singh Lewis. Now, as an aside, I saw in today's newspaper, Stabrook News in particular, it's referencing former APNU plus AFC Member of Parliament Natasha Singh Lewis. Could you guys please delete former APNU plus AFC? The lady is gone. Okay? And saying that doesn't add to the issue at heart. It is not the fact that she was a former APNU plus AFC Member of Parliament that she has now been removed as an account holder at Demerara Bank. So that part has nothing to do with it. Please. That is not the reason why. And I know you didn't intend that. But now she's with Win. So let your thing open as Win candidate Natasha Singh Lewis. That is what you have to say now. That is what is true and certain. Win candidate Natasha Singh Lewis has received communication from Demerara Bank to the effect that she must close her account by July 25th, blah, 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 blah. Well, you know what, you got to go and put former APNU plus AFC Member of Parliament. That is not the reason why Demerara Bank is closing her account. Not as a former member of APNU plus AFC. So yeah, please stop it. Put her true identity. She's a Win candidate. It goes also for Edinburgh, even though he's not, and it goes for Tabitha. Stop putting that she's a farmer, APNU plus AFC and WPA and all this kind of story, man. Put our true identity. It is in that circumstance in which all of them are being looked at as farmer members of the coalition. So now you have this where and you are on and it's
Okay, folks, morning, are you morning, neighbor morning, how are you do? It is 7:36 on the 25th day of July in the year 2025. I am your host to another program of Guyanese Morning Time. Um, we have with us guests this morning, and as they come in, they're going to give you the names. I know Elton Macri is there, Aaron Blackman is there. So we have a number of guests with us this morning, and they're going to be talking to you about something that's important. I dare argue sacred, and I may be a part of the conversation. I'm going to be in the studio, but I may not be visible very often because of the fact that, as you notice, I'm in a vehicle, I'm driving. And you know, when that happens, usually the reason behind it. Um, but I'll let you know, I will certainly let you know what's up. Let me introduce Elton Macrae. Good morning. Welcome to the program.
Good morning, my brother. How are you?
Elton, good morning. Welcome to the program. I'm
Good
okay, you
morning.
know.
How are you?
Elton,
Oh, Lord.
I know there's a particular reason why you're on this morning. You're going to the audience, and I'm going to invite the others on immediately also so that that discourse can take place without my intervention and my interruption. Elton, you need to mute
Yes. Good.
something you
Kidaki,
have in the
can you
background
hear me?
there. Or somebody has on
I didn't
Leyland
get you.
perhaps.
I didn't get that.
There's an echo, so somebody has their mic open while listening to the program.
I don't have a mic open.
Good morning. My mic is not open. My mic is closed. Let me close it back.
Okay, folks, over to you, Elton.
Yes, what we have this morning, what we're discussing this morning is the situation at the parade ground. We are aware that the parade ground is a heritage site, is a monument to the 1823 revolution. When I say it's a monument, I'm saying because it was the killing fields of our ancestors, right? A place where our ancestors were taken to a mock trial to be killed. Why I make this statement is when the persons were being taken to trial, they were dragging their coffins behind them. So it was known that they will be killed. How do I stop my mic? Okay. Is the echo still there, my brother? Yes. So now we as Africans, and especially us on the East Coast, them are because many of those people who were killed would be related to many of us living today on the East Coast. Right? We honor that, we see that place as a sacred place. It's a sacred ground. and not to be disturbed. So, sometime back in 2019, we were able to establish a monument on that ground to that revolution, to our foreparents who were slaughtered there, whose lives were cut short, right? And recently, we observed that contractors were building what they said would have been bleachers in close proximity to that monument. And by the way, a toilet also. So we are protesting against that because the ground is under the aegis of the city council, and city hall seems not to be aware of what's happening there. The ground is also controlled. That monument is also one of the heritage sites controlled by the National Trust. They are not aware of what's happening. So no one seems to know except the Ministry of Culture, and they don't care. I will let the other, I think we have Sister Deputy Mayor online and Councillor Leland Sorrell.
Okay, good
Okay,
morning,
good
listeners.
morning, listeners.
I think someone mic is on.
I
I
think
was getting
someone
a
mic is
feedback
on.
just now.
I was getting a feedback just now.
Brother Elton,
Brother Elton,
kindly mute your
Let me take
mic.
off
kindly
my mic.
mute your mic.
Yes, it's muted. Yeah,
Thank you. Okay,
Thank
it
you.
was brought to our,
Okay, it was brought to
it's back again.
it's on again. Okay, some time ago, about 2 weeks ago, it was reported to me that some construction works were being done on the parade ground. Upon inquiring, I was told that the Ministry of Youth, Sports, and Culture, they're erecting lights on the ground. Upon further investigation, I was told that bleachers are being constructed. This morning, prior to coming on this program, I contacted the city engineers, the city engineer, and he confirmed that um, upon investigation, he learned that the ministry is constructing two bleachers on the ground. No permission was given by the mayor and city council. As a result, he contacted the mayor, and the mayor was meant to make contact with the ministry. I tried calling the mayor this morning, but I did not get a response from the mayor. I guess later I will be speaking to him. But I want to say that parade ground should be preserved. It is a sacred site, and there should be no infringement. No one should dishonor our ancestors, and that is clear. And we will do everything possible to ensure that that site is preserved. We have a problem with central government, the way how they go about executing projects in the city. They do not consult with us. And in relation to this particular project, we will do everything within our power to ensure that our ancestors are not being dishonored by any construction of those bleachers, especially in that area close to where the monument is. It is very, very disrespectful. We know what happened in 1823. And that entire ground, as far as I concern, the blood of our ancestors are on that ground. And therefore, whatever activities we do there, we must bear that in mind, the struggle of our ancestors. Um, it is because of their struggle. We are a free people today. And therefore, we must not allow anyone or any group of persons to dishonor our ancestors. Thank you. Sister Denise, Brother Elton, can you hear me?
Oh, my mic was muted.
Okay, I don't know where is the deputy mayor, but that is my opening statement. I don't know if you want to add anything, but as I said, we'll have to continue to work to ensure that um, our ancestors are treated with respect, and parade ground continue to be a sacred place where we can go and honor our ancestors.
Mm.
Is the deputy mayor
Is the
Yeah.
online,
deputy mayor
Brother
online,
Elton? I'm
No,
not
Brother
seeing
she's
her.
not.
Elton? I'm not seeing
I'm not
her.
seeing her. I'm not seeing her. And as I said, I'm in agreement with you that this parade ground needs to be protected. Oh Lord, I seem to have dropped out again. Are you hearing me?
Yes, I am hearing you.
Yes, I am
You're
hearing
on.
you. You're on.
No, my screen has changed, so I'm not. You know, I'm not familiar. I'm using my phone, and I'm not familiar using these things on the phone because I normally use my computer. But this computer, the camera went bad, so today I'm forced to use the phone. Yes, so I'm saying that with that attitude of the government, I mean, why would they want to build something in the city without seeking permission from the city hall, especially parade ground, which is controlled by the city hall? No, I mean it's a total insult. But that aside, the point we are looking at as a people, we have a monument. Shouldn't you consult with the people before you do something? Shouldn't you consult with those who, with stakeholders? And definitely the African community is a stakeholder on the parade ground, right? As well as City Hall. So there is just this definitely a blatant insult to us Africans in Guyana because I will not attempt or encourage any group to go to Church Street and desecrate it as they intend to do with parade ground because I keep saying don't touch the ground, don't touch because disturbing it will our ancestors who were murdered there, their spirits, for those of us who believe in the life after death and this kind of this, have not moved on because they did not were not offered a proper burial, right? So we need to appease them as much as we can. We need to encourage them and get their blessings for whatever we can do for them, right? I'm sorry, the brother Aaron from Bachelor's Adventure, where in that revolution the slaughter was maximized, where when our people were willing, they were slaughtered when they had no, they felt that there was a negotiation going on, and they were slaughtered. So brother Aaron had promised to be on, and he did say, I'm not sure why he's not on. But we will continue this struggle because we need to probably go, well, not probably, we will have to go to the Ministry of Culture and make our presence and sentiments known to the minister because he seems to be the one pushing this thing forward. And what is sickening about it is that they give the job to a black contractor who may or may not be aware of the significance of the parade ground to us as a people, right? It is something that we need to always bear in mind And it mean Bob Marley sang, whenever I'm gonna get some food, my brother gotta be my enemy. And that brother probably is feeling that way today, that he is now getting a bit of food to eat, and we are fighting him down. But we are not fighting that brother. We are fighting a system that is callous, right? Yes, Brother Leland, as you said, that was your opening
It's
statement.
not
You can,
fighting a
It's not
brother, but
fighting a brother, but
you kindly mute your
yes, I've done that. Oh
yeah.
Lord,
The
this thing
problem
is
that we have here, we have a government that does not show any respect for the whole system of local governments, and therefore they just go there and they execute project, and they do not take into consideration the sensitivity of some of these projects that they're doing. They do not take into consideration who are the stakeholders. They don't care. I want to get this done and I will do it. But in this case, as I promised, we will not allow this to happen. Parade ground is too, it's a significant place. It's a place that embodies our history, our struggle, and therefore we cannot allow this to happen. You know, we know what happened there. And the minister, I would want to believe, he should be aware. Is he that ignorant that he does not know? Or he does not care about our history? How would he feel if at a particular site to honor the memory and the history of a particular group of people, such activity was to take place? And this is what we have to guard against. We should never, never, never allow people to dishonor our heritage and our history as a people. And we have to push back against this. And as far as I'm concerned, the activities that are taking place there should stop immediately until we know, as a people, as black people in this country, what is going on there. Because if the city cannot do it, I think as African people, we have to stand up against that. And I want to say that we will take whatever action is necessary, including legal action to stop what is going on there. And so, after later in the day, I hope to speak to the mayor and try to get an understanding. If contact contacts were made with the ministry and so on, and then we will decide the way forward because time is of the essence. We must intervene now and stop whatever is happening there. It is disrespectful, as I said before. The ground, parade ground, ought to be preserved, and it's a sacred site for us. And we have to do whatever it takes to ensure that we do not disrupt the spirit of the ancestors unnecessary. Over to you, Brother Macri.
I agree with all, I endorse all you've said with relative to the parade ground and its significance. And also will join in any effort to stop it at all, by all means necessary, legal, political, whatever is but it must be stopped, right? Now, I am focusing on the East Coast because that's where this revolution happened. I know people who are direct descendants of some of those who were slaughtered, not necessarily on parade ground, but in the struggle. I may even want to tell you that I feel that I am related to many of those because the history was not transmitted. It was taboo to discuss what happened at that point of time. Fear was sent, People were not free to let their children know or their grandchildren know that an uncle was killed, a brother was killed, and so on. So many of us don't know. But if you look at naming the names of the people who died, who suffered, that history has revealed to us, then you know you are related to that family, right? So we on the East Coast should all be in arms over that situation, right? It's a thing that directly affects us. Why should our dead be desecrated? Why should our the memories of what they stood for be not respected? Right? So we are up against a very large struggle, right, for this thing to continue. I personally will be mobilizing people from my community to be at the ministry next Monday. And I call upon the entire East Coast, people from the entire East Coast of Demerara, to be out there, along with other Africans, of course, because it is an insult to the African dignity in Guyana. You know, as you intimated, should any African administration or any administration attempt to do anything of that similar nature to the East Indian community, to the Amerindian community, the Amerindians would have been up in arms. East Indians would have been up in arms. We have seen it, right, in this place and in other parts of the world. People protect their dead. People protect their significant locations that mark moments in their history. So why shouldn't we? Right.
You know, brother
Now, Brother
Elton, it is
Saul.
real sad that the subject minister, yeah, it's real sad that the subject minister, this case, Minister Ramson, is so insensitive and want to do something like that. I do not, as I said before, it's either he does not care or he's just ignorant. I don't know why he would want to do something like that. You know, these folks, they don't have no regards for the system of local government because in the first place, had he consulted with the city, this would not have happened. So they just use government money, the state money, and just execute projects like that without taking into consideration the outcomes and the impact that the project will have. Because had he done a proper assessment of these things, obviously we would not have been in this situation today. He would have got a clear understanding of the impact and the outcome of such project,
Brother,
especially on the African community, and for those of us who ancestors were slaughtered there. It's very, very disrespectful, and we need to ensure that this project does not go forward in its current form, where bleachers are being placed adjacent the monument that was put there, and you have you installing
Brothers,
toilet on that ground. It's very, very disrespectful. Not there, you know.
Brothers McQuick and Leland, can you hear me?
I'm hearing you. I'm hearing you.
You hear me?
No, someone was coming in. It's
Yes,
okay.
I
They
am.
can speak.
Yes, that's me, Kiraki. Um, I've listened. Like I said, I can't participate too much, but Brother Leland, you're asking a question. If they don't know, and if they don't care, I know you know that they know, and I know you know that they care, and you're putting this at the feet of Ramson. This is not Ramson. This is the PPP. whether the PPP is government or PPP as a political party. The fact is, if you look at this country, the PPP is bent on what I want to call Indian hegemony, Indian supremacy. As soon as the PPP went into power, they changed the Timeri International Airport to Cherry Jagan International Airport. The Timeri International Airport was a monument, and still, as far as I'm concerned, a monument to the Amerindians, the indigenous people. And so when they come and they are interfering with the parade ground the way they are, it is not out of ignorance. It is very deliberate, right? And we I like to say we gotta keep these things on the ballot because that is where they belong. African Guyanese seem to believe that when we enter politics, when we go into that poll booth, it's just to talk.
Yes, brother Tadaki, I agree with you.
It is way
Do you
more than
feel
that.
or issues like these need to be on the
It
ballot?
is respect for culture.
I
It is
agree with
respect for
you.
every citizen of this country, every ethnic group. It is economics. It is livelihood. It is survival. And all of these things that the PPP is doing, whether through Ramsey or any of its other minister, is aimed at decimating the African presence in this country. I don't see it as any other thing. And so we could talk about it from the local government aspect. We could talk about it from a position of minister being ignorant and all of that. I am saying I see it from a position of the PPP and Indo-Guyanese supremacy. That is how they see it. And unless you see it the way they see it, you can't confront it to make them stop it. It's as simple as that. If there can be no monument to the African Guyanese presence, there must be no monument to the Indo-Guyanese presence. It's as simple as that. And until we start to take those positions, this shit ain't gonna change. I rest my case. I hope you all were hearing me. Like nobody in on this life. Macquarie, Saul, like the big bad
Hello.
wolf come on the life and everybody
Am
run
I
away.
on?
Lord. Listen, I don't know where the people who are hosting this program have gone to. Viewers, if you can hear me, I am not
Am I on
in that
still?
frame of mind, that mood to drive and host the program. I'll put the phone away. If you can hear me, show me a thumbs up or something quickly so I know you can hear me and I perhaps can continue to rant. Assuming you have an interest in my ranting.
Brother Elton and
All
Kedaki,
right, so I don't
are
see
you
any
here?
response from anyone either. So y'all have a good day. I
Are you
got.
hearing me? Hello? Something wrong there, boy. Brother Kedaki. I like the end hearing me. Last contact completely. Something is wrong there.
I don't know if it is the internet is not functioning. I don't know if it is the guests have disappeared. But whatever it
Are
is,
you
the live
hearing
seem to have
me?
been stuck. Don't worry. I'll see if I can find some time to come on later in the day and talk with you guys.
He's not.
If not, maybe I'll do a special over the weekend. But I'll have a good day
It's
because
really
I
hard.
can't drive and host the program.